Good morning. It's Sunday morning. It's Norma Cowie with a Sunday thought. The interesting thing with the thought that we're going to talk about today was I was actually reading a book, and all of a sudden the sentence grabbed me. And I am a reader, so I can, read all sorts of things. But this one really made me stop and think. And basically, it just said this: when you live in regret, or when you have regrets, you're living in the past. And I had to sit down and think about that, because then realize it was absolutely correct. Because do we have a regret about anything that hasn't happened yet? We may think sometimes, oh, I hope that doesn't happen, or I hope that whatever that way. But we don't live in regret unless it is something that has occurred in the past. So what can we do about that? Because if you have regret about something emotionally, that is going out into your vibrational rate and will create again the same thing or something similar. And that's what happens with a lot of people. They'll just say, oh, they'll make up all sorts of things. But basically, it's because they never come to terms with what actually happens or happened in their lives. Not everything that we do within our life works out the way we want it. And sometimes we do have a lot of regret. I know there are often, I didn't have too much time from a lot of years of thinking about what didn't work, what did work, and etc. But it has happened as I've gotten older that I'll sit down and I'll remember. And you can very easily, when you're looking back, move into regret you didn't handle it as effectively as you would have liked, regret that it even happened in the first place, and especially when it involves another person and you wish maybe they hadn't been the way they were or responded the way they were. So when I read that you're living in the past, that was when the light bulb went on. That when I recognized that was a truthism, because I immediately I was fleshing on things that over the years I'd had some regret over, and that I had learned that you don't hang on to things that don't really work for you. Like you've messed up. I used to say I messed up a lot of times. So that's where self-forgiveness comes in. So you can let go and move on into the sense of the direction that you want to go. Now, as often on a Sunday, I turn to the God box insight cards, and usually right away one pops out. Today I had to look a little bit, but the card that I've got here I think is really important. It says, I turn it over to higher will. I am at peace within myself. And that's what we want, is to be peaceful within ourselves. If you're having a regret about something that's happened, or you're already regretting that it may happen, because that's also another side of that, is that what you're doing is that you're carrying that in your vibration that is blocking what we call your good, or what you really want to have happen, what you want to come to you. So when it says, I turn it over to a higher will, now you can call the higher will God, Allah, Methuselah, whatever. But it means that you don't hold on to it, that you let it go to whatever you see as that higher power, or what they wrote here, higher will. Knowing that what's done is done. But what I found, the only way for me over the years to let it go was to forgive myself for whatever. Because my mouth ran away from me, or I'm upset because it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. And sometimes because, I had relationships, sometimes I would go back and think about them, and I would have a regret on certain things that took place. But knowing also that you needed to let it go. Self-forgiveness, forgiveness of the other party, whether it's one person, 10 people, 20 people, letting that go, recognizing that to be at your peace within yourself is the most important element. So, regret. Sometimes we don't think, even as we're looking at things, that we do feel regret. Sometimes we just think we're just remembering. But if that is that sadness that comes because something didn't work out the way we wanted, that's a regret. And if you do not see that it's really important to be able to come to some conclusion within yourself, but the key is for you need to be at peace. What you attract, remember what you think, and especially when it's fired with emotion like regret, it'll tend to repeat. It'll tend to come back. It's like saying, I'm here. See, you still got this. And the key here is just for you to get to be at that place where it says, I am at peace within myself. So that, yes, we know that other people may hold things against you, but that's their business. Other people may say things about you that you know are not correct. That's their business. That's their inner turmoil working. But you can be at peace. You can let go. You can come to some, what do I want to call it? Conciliation. Oh, me and my big long words have trouble with them. You can come to a tidy ending. You can put it in a place that you understand. You can figure out what it is. But whatever it is, when your mind starts going back there with, oh, I wish, or maybe, or if only, that's not going to do you any good for right now. It's acceptance of what happened, acceptance of what is, and knowing that that's the way it is, and being able to forgive yourself if you feel that you acted inappropriately. Forgive yourself. The higher power, whatever you want to call it, does not hold things against you. It's there to support you. It's there to love you. It's there to care for you. It's there to have you live in the present so you can create a future that works well for you. But when we get upset, when we get regretting this, that, or the other, and usually when I look at regrets, it's either has a person involved, another person involved, and or an event. And so the key is that person or that event is not here presently. So the key is who is here? You're there. So that's where the self-forgiveness will come in. That is where the letting go. That is when the realization you're not winning, you're not getting ahead, you're not achieving if you're living in regret. So that's my Sunday thought today. Watch when you move into regret and forgive yourself for it and let it go. Deal with the present and the future because that's where you're heading and that's where you're going and you want things to move really, really well. So thank you for listening. And Yvonne, good morning to you too. And thank you for the thank you. And Khalid, and you always say what's wonderful, beautiful things to me. So I appreciate that. Yes, better health and better wealth, better health. I am getting there, actually. I'm feeling really quite good. And thanks again, as always, when you say such very nice things. Okay, so that's my Sunday thought. Of course, will be back tomorrow night with mental mind treatments. And then you can ask me your questions. Anyway, you have a good day. Blessings. Bye now.